So I like that. So,
Yeah. So so you can, if you go to, you can visit us here at FSCJ, and even though all the stuff that's going on, all of what we're having to, the challenges that we may have, as well as the opportunities that we are having, you could still find something that you really wanted to take and put down over here at another community college because it works.
mm-hmm.
It's a good, it would fit. It would get the job done. So in some ways, it's like every community college, and let's just put it this way, they have a promising practice. Every community college has a promising practice. Now, whether or not it's the makeup of the entire college, absolutely not. So I think that's what you see when you think about volatility, when you think about, the managing of change, you think about, but we kind of live it. I mean, that my president wanted to do one college, mm-hmm. I think that's absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
How she went about doing it, I certainly would have done it differently, but she's got to lead from where she happens to be. I was in Arizona at Pima Community College, and we had a chancellor who decided that our focus would be one college.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different approach to it.
Mm-hmm.
His idea of one college was that we made sure that we served students. That we served students and we served them well. We made sure we had facilities that if a student went to one college and didn't think they were going to Podunk, and they would go to our one campus and think they were going to Podunk, and go to another campus and find that there's like they were in some palace.
Mm-hmm.
They would go to one campus and they couldn't get a program there to save their soul,
mm-hmm.
and they go to another campus and they could have everything they wanted. So his idea was, you make sure that a student is able to complete programs at every last campus. Mm-hmm. You make sure that a student is getting support services at every last campus. You made sure, and that to him was the one college.
Do you feel like that would have been a feasible approach for FSCJ?
Pardon?
Would that have been a feasible approach for FSCJ or not? Not at the time.
Well, I think that the way that the college had been in some level of turmoil before because the president left under, let's say, less than ideal circumstances, mm-hmm. after spending quite a bit of time here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it was all in the papers, and it was rough. Mm-hmm. So there had to be some bringing people back together and making them, or having people to think of how wonderful their institution is. Mm-hmm. So certainly, I will tell you that if it had been me and I still wanted to do the one college, I really would have started with assessing where the campuses were that made them less than focused as one college. Because FSCJ it is not, the campuses are not separately accredited.
Mm-hmm.
It is one college, and the expectation from the accrediting body is that a student, no matter where they go, is going to get that kind of experience that helps them move them to success. So would I have done it differently? Absolutely. I think that, with the chancellor at Pima, the one thing that we had a central office, but the central office was not, they weren't the dictators of what took place at campus. They were the collaborators, the coordinators, mm-hmm. to make sure that, and I brought the deans, in fact, my role was Chief Academic Officer, Chief Student Services Officer for the college. Mm-hmm. And I didn't own one dean, but we all met together. We talked, we make sure that, we talk about what was happening on this campus. Nobody was trying to one up the other. It was, we've got to serve students. Okay, so what are you doing over here that's a good practice? Mm-hmm. And the same thing with academic affairs. When it was my responsibility to make sure that we did alignment, we call it curriculum alignment, making sure that each campus had programs that students would want to take. I had to realign the programs on campuses so that that every campus looked like a campus that the students wanted to be on, wanted to attend.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there was an approach that was somewhere in the middle, and probably even if we had one way of doing it, as opposed to reorganize.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know where you are as one college. I mean,
Was there a communication campaign for students to communicate the change to help them, process what's going on? Was maybe like something that was uniform through all campuses, that was like a saying, a motto, something that's going out in like email blast?
Well, I don't know that it was thought of as the communications to students really only had to do with where do you get your services. I mean, where did they go to? What are you going to get if you go to this campus? There really wasn't, a whole lot of thought given to what do you communicate to students other than, students, you're going to have a great experience now because it's centralized and, all the advisors are going to go through training and, I should tell you too that when student services was then became the responsibility of the vice president, the whole of student services was reorganized. So that meant that every person, other than the deans, the then deans of students, were pink slipped, and they had to reapply for the jobs that were now a part of the roster.
Definitely hurts that community for sure. I would have definitely let the students be a part of it. Make it a campaign inexpensive, but it gives them something to be proud of.
What they really are experiencing, because I think that what happened was it was like, the students are just they can't get what they need. They just they are having a bad experience here, and on this campus there's this advisor who's telling students that you're too old to go to school, and this and that one over here. Well, that meant that it means you have to train the advisors. You have to, if they aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, if they're not giving the message they're supposed to be giving, then should they even have a job?
Yeah.
Period.
True.
You don't have to. So it was kind of trying to reorganize it into, something that was going to be great and grand. And I don't know that we're any further along than where we were, because we now have advisor on campus, but the student can't see a financial aid person on campus.
Oh no.
The student can't see a counselor on campus. The student can't. I mean, it's just.
Should be student access.
Yeah.
Where's the access?
And so basically, so get this. Our enrollment, and we can blame a certain percentage of it on the ERP, because the ERP was very difficult. I mean, it really was, in terms of student getting through the mix to get even get admitted into the college was a challenge. But you have to think about our enrollment dropped by 15% in the fall of last year.
Oh my goodness. Our
enrollment dropped by 10% in the spring of this year. So, that isn't to say that we wouldn't have experienced some drop because of just the population and who's the employment, the rate of unemployment is so low. Mm-hmm. But still, 15%, 10%, and students are complaining that they can't talk to anybody, that they don't know how to get to where they're going. And guess what? Our response to it is a ticketing system. So you got a complaint, you got a problem, put in a ticket.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think.
So now you got enough for a book?
I do, but I want to also just, if you ever need any advice, I'm a great person as far as I'm a visionary, and so I love hearing all these complicated anything, and you can always note that it will be very confidential, but just knowing how the the Florida system is, and I've been around a little bit between the different institutions, that if I can ever be helpful, if you have a problem, it's always good to maybe run it off of someone who is not where their hands are dabbled in that. And so I would love to sit in on any of these conversations, or just see if I could be of assistance in the future, for sure.
Okay, so let me explain that. So I would say thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
But here's one of the other things that you learn too, that about leaders within their own, who are in their own world, and who are not necessarily accepting of input.
Oh, I know.
So think about that. Add that to your mix of things. So when change happens, you also have to have people willing to look into themselves and say, I need help, or here's where you can help me, or, this is where I'm having my challenges. And that doesn't always happen. So
I know. I'm one of those people. I always want to empower others and collaborate if possible. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that we can have future conversations.
I would welcome that, because then, I'd like to hear what you thought you heard from me.
Oh, absolutely.
Because this is like regurgitating.
Well,
no, maybe it's
I think that that's why I gave you a call to get a little bit more details. But I think this is great. I think there's some trends here. And strange story, I actually work at Pima. I do. I'm an advisor out there. They're one of our alliance institutions. So I work with a lot of the transfer students, Cochise. That's one of the areas I usually go out and visit, is Phoenix, as well as, a lot of the military bases and the community colleges. So I do I do a lot of the community relationships and partnerships with our schools to help our veterans receive full BAH.
So you're at Davis-Monthan?
Yeah, I go to Davis-Monthan, Pima. We go to Luke, also Fort Huachuca out there.
Oh, Fort Huachuca. I forgot about Fort Huachuca.
Yeah, so I'm a floater, so I'm interested. I love your story, and I love what you do. I'm looking forward to my future one day. It kind of gives me hope to, solve some of these problems, but I know it always takes time to get there, so.
Well, it does, and it also it inspires you to actually be in a leadership role where you can have the influence and the effect.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what pushes people forward, is they say, wait a minute, I can solve that problem. But what you can't, what happens is you can't take hold of it, own it, unless you are there.
Absolutely.
And so get there.
Oh, I'm getting there. I think that's just something I kind of, it's resentment, not really resentment, but it's just one of those circumstances where, your career is accelerated at one university and then you move, and it's just, this was a great experience.
Yeah,
but
you keep in mind, what you've learned, what you had has no shelf life. And what's happening is you are gaining so much experience and so much, let's say, so much knowledge that when you see something that's yours, you will know it, because you'll have all of what it takes in order to get there. I mean, when I look at component parts of the job that I'm in now, I didn't have any doubt about whether or not I could do this. I mean, it's because I've had the experience, not just as president of a small college, but as a vice president, as an assistant vice chancellor, as a vice president, as a dean. I mean, all those different roles, and you don't have to be in those roles either. I mean, it's the projects that you take on, it's the responsibilities that you have. I mean, all of that kind of combines to make you, the person that can move into a leadership role. So.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you so much for your time. I apologize to keep you over.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I'm good. I'll make up time. I'll just fly.
I will send you a copy of my paper, and I think you'll be interested in how it flows. It'll be 25 pages, and you're more than welcome to use any of it in your future book. I think it'll be
wonderful.
I think it'll be refreshing.
You take care.
You too.
And we'll talk soon.
Oh, yes, ma'am. You too. Take care. Thank you again.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.